10 News begins with breaking news.
Huge flames and embers flying in Chula Vista right now, a brush fire igniting in a canyon.
Well, this is happening near Favor and Hollister Streets in Chula Vista. It's an area littered with welding, chrome plating, and power coating companies. We want to get straight to 10 News. Photojournalist Paul Anderegg, he is in that area live right now. Paul.
You can see that fire is still burning here. Now, we're standing up on the trolley tracks off Hollister, south of Main Street, between Palm and Main Street, and you can see the area that's just been devastated by fire. Let's show you some video of what this looked like about half an hour ago when we first arrived on scene. I apologize, very windy out here. The wind is blowing directly at me, and that wind was one of the major issues out here, as it caused embers to be thrown into adjacent areas and brush that then lit onto fire. I was actually on scene down there below where you saw our first opening live shot before the fire department arrived, and there was actually what appeared to be some transients who were running around trying to stomp out some of those spot fires to them from catching on fire. I was actually afraid at one point that my clothes were going to get ignited by the embers, so we had to move out of the area. The fire is still, again, if we can come back out here live, you can see it's still actively burning. They're still actively fighting it. They are saying, though, that they have mitigated any possibility so far of it getting to any structures in the adjacent nearby commercial areas. Still heavy wind, though. The firefighters are having a difficult time because of that wind. It's very hard to see down here and to maneuver through these bushes. This is an area that we frequently see fires started by transient encampments. We don't know if that's the case on this one, but obviously we're going to stay here. We're going to bring you some more updates shortly.
And Paul, we need to ask you, we know it's nightfall, we know there are power lines in that area, but we did hear over the scanner, so it's unconfirmed, they were trying to get a helo in the air to do an air attack on that. Have you seen any sign of that?
We did have a helicopter do a water drop on us earlier. It just made one quick drop and then left the area. I believe that was enough for them to believe they get control. They have very strict rules they have to abide by, especially with wind with those helicopters, so they try to use them sparingly and not put the crews in jeopardy if those water drops aren't going to be a huge factor in combating the fire. But I actually hear the helicopter coming in right now behind me as we talk.
Paul, as that comes over, you did mention this is a commercial area. We know it's mostly industrial. What about any homes close by? With the winds picking up the way they are and the way that the embers could fly, are there homes that are nearby in this area, anywhere remotely?
There's no homes anywhere in this area. It's pretty much mostly just commercial areas down here in this San Diego riverbed, and here comes the helicopter. It looks like about to do another drop. Mostly, again, commercial areas. This area burns a lot, and unless it's burning southbound, there's not really many homes that can be affected by this. Fortunately, it's just the trolley tracks, and let's watch this helicopter do this drop real quick here.
It's very fortunate, Paul, that the Otay River is just south of that area. Those helicopters have a great vantage point to be able to get that water and get to that really, really quickly. Would we assume most of those businesses were already closed tonight? What did it look like when you arrived?
Yeah, those commercial areas are pretty much closed. I'm panning around so I can kind of show you what's behind me now. I'm right in the direction where the wind is blowing. It's blowing right towards me, towards the northwest. If you can see out here in the background, these homes and those cars moving up there, I believe that's like Palm Avenue, and Bayer is back there in the background. And those are where, when the flames move southbound, when the wind is blowing southbound, that's where those homes are really in jeopardy. But we're fortunate here. There's a large area that's kind of there's patchy bushes that the firefighters were able to put out pretty quickly.
So, Paul, do you have any idea about how many crews have responded to this fire?
At least a second alarm assignment is what we're hearing. More crews are arriving. I just had a Coronado battalion chief pull up a moment ago coming to assist on this. So crews from many agencies, San Diego, Chula Vista, National City, many agencies are out here, including that San Diego Fire helicopter.
Yeah, we're just looking at some of the video that you shot just a few moments ago when you arrived on scene. Those flames are really, really high in that area. A lot of businesses there that may in fact have a lot of fuel in the welding and the awning companies and that kind of thing. You talked about where you were a moment ago. All of this is just east of Hollister Street, which many people are familiar with in Chula Vista, along Favor Street.
Let's bring in Melissa Messina.
Yeah, unfortunately.
just to give us an idea, Paul talked a little bit about the winds that are blowing. Give us an idea for our viewers where those winds are coming from right now and how hard they're blowing at this point in this area.
And you know, and what kind of the scary thing here is that this area of Chula Vista is actually not officially under that red flag warning. The red flag warning is for our inland valleys and our mountains, but you can see just what a little bit of fire can do, because even throughout the county, it is still very dry. So relative humidity in Chula Vista, this area is dry, just as what we've been seeing here throughout the county. So again, it really doesn't take much. And even though the winds, the gusts are not as strong here compared to what we're seeing elsewhere, you can see the destruction, Kim and Steve.
Yeah, you certainly can. And Paul, we want to get your assessment as well. Obviously, when people in the South Bay, Chula Vista, along that area there, just north of the Otay River, see these flames, it's very concerning, and they should stay alert whenever there is this situation. But from your vantage point, does it look like they're able to kind of contain this in a way that's keeping it in that industrial area?
Yeah, you can see that wind blowing one of those, it looks like a large tarp that's on one of these buildings. You can see it flapping in the wind, and you can probably see the movement of the smoke here as it blows from right to left across here. I believe also they have the trolley track shut down just because of the danger. They were very worried that it was going to come up and cross over here. Once it crosses over here, there's another large riverbed area, and all these riverbed areas are very hard access for firefighters to get into. A lot of these you can get to the perimeter with those paths for the people that go into the homeless encampments, and that's for the most part how the firefighters are huffing it in there, carrying those hoses and getting down into there. But once they get down to the edge of the fire, they then have to battle their way through the areas that have already burnt. You can see some of the firefighters just down here right in the middle, breathing all of that smoke in their brush gear. Obviously they don't have any respirators or anything like that, so it's a real tough time for those firefighters down there.
No doubt. All right, Paul, we know you're going to stay on this. We're going to check in with you continually throughout this newscast. Our Anthony Pura is also there as well. We'll check in with him as well as we cover more news here on 10 News. And this breaking news, a nighttime aerial assault also in Chula Vista to stop flames from spreading in those Santa Ana winds.
Just 2 hours ago, firefighters shut down an off-ramp between Chula Vista and National City, right near the 805. That was after fire ignited near a homeless camp there. 10 News reporter Matt Boone is there live. And Matt, firefighters were taking no chances with this one.
Kim, the last fire engine just cleared out, but yeah, multiple agencies came to the scene here. This is an area of dense vegetation in between the 805 freeway here and Plaza Bonita Road, just at the border of National City and Chula Vista. As you just showed, there was an aerial drop that came in, took most of the momentum out of this fire earlier this evening, but there were ground units as well trying to tackle this from the ground. Still, it was startling to people passing by, everybody hyper aware of the extreme fire weather facing California right now.
That's kind of scary because, you know, I mean, up there, all the firefighters are doing a good job up there. They're battling the fire, but even down here is a little bit scary. And there's a little one compared to up there, but so little ones become big ones, fires, I mean.
And thankfully, at least in this area tonight, there are very little to no winds right now, so that fire did not spread very quickly. The exact cause still under investigation. Reporting live tonight in Chula Vista, Matt Boone, 10 News.
News there. And the winds were fierce today, forcing SDG&E to cut power to thousands of customers. Many are still in the dark, part of a safety shutoff during these Santa Ana winds. We have team coverage of the red flag warning, beginning with 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo. She's in Alpine, where they're improvising until the lights come back on.
And right now the winds are pretty calm, but the power is still out for about 1,000 customers up here in Alpine, something that's frustrating to many. During the day, the winds were strong, blowing debris into swimming pools, whipping around light fixtures and trees in Alpine. As the sun set, much of Alpine was left in the dark. SDG&E shut off power at 3 this morning. It's scheduled to be off until 6 Thursday night.
Now I'm gonna go to the grocery store I don't trust anything in the fridge, so I'm gonna buy some dinner and buy as many candles as I can.
The power shutoff is the second one in a week, making some consider investing in a generator.
So like I've been in Alpine for maybe 5 years now, and this is nothing happened like this. So if it keeps up, yes.
For this family, no power means having to dine out and finding a place for the kids to do their homework.
It's difficult because you have no power and we can't do anything that we would normally do on a school week.
As the winds calmed, many left wondering why the power isn't back on.
It's a pretty big inconvenience, especially since there's no wind right now.
Because why is there power 5 minutes down the road?
SDG&E officials have explained that even though winds might be calm in some areas, those power lines must remain off because they can be connected to an area that is experiencing strong winds. In Alpine, Laura Acevedo, 10 News.
A number of schools will be closed tomorrow because of power outages and fire danger. That includes the schools in the Dehesa, Julian, Mountain Empire, Spencer Valley, Vallecillos, Valley Center, Palma, and Rancho Santa Fe districts.
All right, 10 News weather anchor Melissa Macia is tracking the dangerous red flag warning that continues into tomorrow. And you were talking about in Chula Vista, where we're just watching that fire.
Right.
The winds are not nearly what they have been, that one we saw earlier this morning.
Exactly. In that area, they're really not as strong as other parts of the county, but it really doesn't take much because we are extremely dry here throughout the county. I do want to show you our current wind gusts right now. The strongest, Ramona and Alpine. Alpine currently gusting in the 40s. You can see our current temperatures here in downtown. We're at 54 degrees, but the humidity, the dew points, very low right now. So that's what we are watching here. Relative humidity throughout the county. You could see there in Chula Vista where Paul Anderegg is, down to 8%. So these dry conditions are going to stay with us, even though the coast is not under that red flag warning. Of course, fire danger always top of mind. When I return, I will let you know when these winds will start to die down. For now, Steve, back to you.
All right, Mel, thank you. Keep track of the California wildfires and those Santa Ana conditions here at home with our 10 News mobile app. The free version is available in the App Store.